Both the ripple edit and rolling edit feature within Premiere are very effective and efficient at trimming your clips as you assemble your movie down in the sequence. And I'd like to start off by talking about the ripple edit feature first. So I'll navigate over to my toolbar, I'll mouse click on the ripple edit tool, the shortcut is the letter B. And in this case, I would like to perform a trim edit to the first clip. As a matter of fact, I want to trim the tail of the clip, which is the end. I want to trim the tail, so watch what happens. Actually, a few things are going to happen, but I want you to watch what happens in the sequence. I'll mouse click and I'll drag about halfway into the clip and I'll let it go. Boom, I just trimmed this first clip. There's no gap. All the clips to the right of what I just trimmed moved in, and I'm done. It's a very handy tool that is very effective. Now let me show you something else that I want you to pay attention to in this next one, because I want to trim the second clip. I want to trim the head of this clip here. But before I do that, I want to point your attention to what's going to happen over here in the program window. Take a look. So if I want to trim the head of the clip, take a look. I'll mouse click and I want to make sure the arrow is pointing in the direction that I want to trim. That's important. You got to pay attention to that. So I'll mouse click and I'll drag, and look what's happening up in the program window. The movement on the right indicates the trimming of the clip that I'm moving my mouse over left and right now. So I'm trimming the second clip, going back and forth. The icon on the left of that frame on the left in the program window is the last frame of the first clip, which is the outgoing clip. Nothing's happening to that, right? It's just there as a visual reference. So if you're wondering, well, why is that there? A lot of editors, when they do this particular edit, they want to trim for many reasons, but it's for fine tuning. And they want continuity from the previous clip to the next clip to be as tight as a drum. And this could be because of dialogue. This could be because of timing for a voiceover or the beat of a song. But this ripple tool really makes it handy and very efficient and effective within a couple of mouse clicks. So if I mouse click and drag right there and I let my cursor go, I've just trimmed the beginning of the second clip, no gap, and I'm moving on now to the next clip. So now I'm going to trim the tail of this clip, mouse click and drag. Now I'll just kind of go through these a lot quicker. And this is going to require some practice on your end. The ripple and the roll tools might seem a little complicated, but once you get in here and do this, it's actually pretty straightforward. I would suggest that you practice on a half dozen clips and go through and trim the head and the tail of each clip, and pay attention to what's happening down here, and then pay attention to what's happening up here in the program window. And like I said, both the ripple and the roll tools are for fine tuning. Oh, and by the way, if I want to trim the beginning or the first clip, the first portion of my entire sequence, which is this first clip, when I mouse click and drag, I don't get a dual up display up in the program window. So don't let that throw you off. It's only because you're only trimming, or you're only really affecting one clip, which is the first clip, right? So if I let this go right now, all the clips move over, and the same would apply to the end of the last clip, right? If I trim, I only get that single reference, which is the tail of this last clip up here on the program window. So keep that in mind. Okay, the next tool that I want to show you is the rolling tool, which is right underneath the ripple tool. If I click on that, there we go. I now have the rolling tool available. The shortcut is the letter N. And so before I show you this tool though, this tool, the rolling edit tool, affects two clips at the same time. Actually, it trims two clips at the same time, whereas the ripple edit only trims one clip at a time. So with the rolling tool, if I click on an edit point between two clips, I mouse click and I drag to the right. Watch what's happening not only down here in the sequence, right, but what's happening up in the program window. I'm getting a preview of what's happening to both clips because they're both being affected. The difference here with this tool, when I let this go, the duration of my sequence doesn't change. Keep that in mind. In fact, when I mouse click and drag to the left or to the right, I can do this, I can perform this edit because both of these clips have already been trimmed. There is extra media on both of these clips that allow me to perform this edit, because what am I doing? If you look what's happening now, as I move to the left, I'm shortening the first clip and I'm extending the second clip. And I'm really not extending it, I'm revealing more of that clip. So if I let my cursor go now, I've now trimmed this clip down and I'm showing more of this clip. So what happens if I go in the other direction? Mouse click and drag. I'm now extending or showing more of the first clip, but showing less of the second clip if I let the mouse go. And you'll see what's happening up here. You'll get used to it. Very, very effective, very good tool. Both the ripple and the rolling edit tool are very popular amongst editors. And one last thing, I want to get rid of that tool, so I'll mouse click on the selection tool. If I double click on any one of these clips, if I double click on this clip, remember I said a moment ago that the rolling edit tool works best if the clips have already been trimmed. Well, you can see when you double click on any one of these that this first clip has been trimmed already, right? All this footage here is not being used down in the sequence, and all this footage here is not being used down in the sequence, which means if I want to trim this out point here down here in my sequence and I get the rolling tool, right? If I mouse click and drag to the right, watch what happens up in the source window. Take a look. Boom. A couple things just happened. When I trim to the right, I extended, or I'm showing more of this clip while showing less of this clip. Now the out point has been updated because I performed that edit. So that's another way to get a quick reference as to what's happening. You could literally go to each clip, right? Double click on each clip, update it, or put it up into the source window, get the rolling edit tool, mouse click, and let's trim this down just as an example. So now if I let my cursor go, I'm going to change the endpoint and the duration of the second clip, so I'll let it go, and my endpoint was updated. And I'll do the same to the out point. I'll mouse click and drag just a little bit, and the out point was updated, which means I'm just showing more of this clip down in my sequence, and I'm showing less of this third clip. So both of these are going to require some practice. They're both excellent tools, though, that you can utilize in every single one of your projects. And once you get these down, you're going to agree with me that these are very versatile and handy tools.